Okay, we're going to finish up lecture 11. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about evaluating functions. So again, sorry for the inconvenience, but you're in the wrong spot in your notes probably. You need to look back. It's the bottom slide of page 2. Bottom slide of page 2. Okay, so get turned there, bottom slide of page 2. All right, now, what we have is we have a function up here. We already graphed this function. Okay, this is what our graph of our function would have looked like. Okay, what they're asking you to do now is they're asking you to evaluate. So for example, this function here wants to know what is f of negative 5. Okay, now f of negative 5, okay, we've done this in lecture 9, how to evaluate functions. Okay, this right here tells me my x equals negative 5. The difference is now I've got two functions and I need to know which function that I plug that into. So if our x equals negative 5, is negative 5 greater than 1 or is negative 5 less than 1? I hope that you said that negative 5 is less than 1, which tells me that this is the function that I need to pay attention to, and I can essentially forget about this function for this case. So I'm going to be looking at f of x equals x plus 1. And they're telling me that they want to know what is f of negative 5. Well, f of negative 5 means that I'm plugging in a negative 5 for my x, which means I have to plug that in on the other side as well. So I get f of negative 5 equals negative 4. Okay? If I come over here to my graph, I know that x equals negative 5. I can also look and see right here at negative 5. Okay, if I drop straight down, there's a point at negative 5. So I know that if my x value is negative 5, my y value is negative 4. Okay, which that checks out with what I have here. Okay, let's go through a couple other examples then. Okay, other examples, sorry. I've got f of 2. F of 2. Okay, so where does f of 2 fit in? Is f of 2 greater than 1 or is f of 2 less than 1? Well, I would hope that you would say that f of 2, that would be greater than 1. Okay, my x value is greater than 1 if it's 2. So I'm going to use this function here. I've got f of x equals x squared. I can kind of forget about this one for this case. All right? So I'm going to be looking at then f of 2 equals 2 squared. Okay, so I find that f of 2 equals 4. If I go here to the graph where my x value is 2, I can see there's a point there. When my x value is 2, my y value is 4. Okay, let's try another, because this last one is going to be tricky. All right, now I've got f of 1. So my x value is 1. So which one does 1 fit in? Is 1 greater than or equal to 1? Or is 1 less than 1? 1 would be greater than or equal to, okay, because it equals 1. So this is the one that I want to pay attention to. The reason I want to pay attention to it is because of that one right there. That's where 1 is going to be included. Okay, so I'm going to use my top function here. I'm going to use f of x equals x squared. I can forget about this bottom one. Okay, so that's going to give me f of 1 equals 1 squared. So I find that f of 1 equals 1 squared is just 1. Again, I go to my graph. Okay, here's where my x equals 1 at. Whoops. Here's where my x is 1 at, so I'm looking up. You can see there's 2 points. Well, which is the one that matters? The one that is filled in. That's the one that matters. The open circle, we're not including 1 there. So when my x equals 1, my y value is 1. Okay? We're again going to kind of flip around in your notes. Okay? You guys should be looking. Hold on, let me get it pulled up there. Okay, we're going to be on this practice question, which this practice question for you guys is going to be on the bottom of page 4. Yep, go to the bottom of page 4. Bottom slide on page 4. Okay, this one's a little bit different here, but just because there's more. okay, we would say here my x is less than -2. Here, my x is going to be between -2 and 2. And this one here, my x is going to be greater than 2. Okay, so that's kind of what we're thinking on these. So first one, f of -4. Where does -4 fit in? Well, -4 would be less than -2, right? So I'm going to be f of x equals x plus 3, which means that f of -4 equals -4 plus 3. Okay? So again, it was f of x equals x plus 3. So instead of an x, though, I've got a -4 in there. So that means I've got a -4 plugged in here. So I find that f of -4 equals -1. There's my answer for that. Okay? Next one, I've got -1 for my answer. So f of -1. Well, -1 would fit between -2 and 2. Okay, so this is my function that I'm going to look at. And that is f of x equals x squared. F of x equals x squared. So that means I've now got f of -1 equals -1 squared. Okay? Again, it was f of x equals x squared. Now it's f of -1 equals -1 squared. I plugged that in for the x. Okay, I'm going to simplify that, and I find that f of -1 equals 1. And that's my answer there. Okay, and then the last one. Okay, this is kind of a tricky one here. Okay, I'm telling you that my x equals 2. Is 2 in between -2 and 2? Is 2 greater than 2? Well, really, it's neither one of those two, right? So we're going to have to pay attention to are less than or equal to. That means our middle one, we are including the 2. This is the one that I'm going to use because I'm including the 2, that thing right there. Okay? So I'm again using f of x equals x squared, which means I've got f of 2 equals 2 squared. So my f of 2 is going to equal 4. F of 2 equals 4. Okay? Almost done. Okay, I've got a lesson practice that I want you guys to try here. This is bottom of page 5. We're going to do bottom of page 5, and we are going to do top of page, well, it says 1, but that should be page 6. Not sure what happened there. Okay, so pause the video, do those 2 lesson practice questions. Okay, so first one on this one. Okay, these are answers you should have. You should have f of -8 equals 8. Okay, this one here, -8, that's less than -1, so I'm going to plug it into my absolute value function. Okay, so I should have f of -8 equals 8. Middle one, I have f of 4. 4 is greater than -1, so I'm going to use this function down below here. 4 is greater than -1. I'm going to use that function. That should give me f of 4 equals 5. Okay, I get 2 times 4, which is 8, minus 3 is 5. And then my last one, this is my tricky one. Where does -1 fit in? Well, -1 is included right here on our bottom one. So I'm going to plug the -1 into the bottom equation. 2 times -1 is -2. Minus 3 gives me -5. So that's your first lesson practice. Okay, in our second lesson practice, I should have f of -2 equals -4. Not going to lie, this one kind of tripped me up a little bit here. Okay, -2 is included in our middle one. Okay, so I'm going to use the middle one on f of -2. Okay, it means I got to plug in a -2. So you guys see how I plug that in here. We got to do exponent first, which makes that a +4. Then after we do our exponent, then we take in the negative. So that's how I get -4 for my answer. Next one is f of 4. 4 is clearly bigger than 2. So that one shouldn't be too hard. We need to use our bottom equation here. Okay, so I'm going to plug in a 4 in for that bottom equation. I get f of 0. And then our last one over here on the right, this one's also a little bit tricky. It's got f of 2. Okay, f of 2. 2, where is 2 included? Well, 2 is included right here down at the bottom. Okay, so it's also going to get plugged into the bottom equation, and I get f of 2 equals -2. Again, if you guys have any questions on this, make sure that you guys have written them down so that you can ask me when you guys get back to class. Okay, your homework assignment is on page 253, number 25 through 28. That's all evaluating functions like we just finished doing. Okay, number 31 through 38. Okay, 31 through 38. That is from the first video when you guys are graphing. Okay, I have copies for you guys. They've just got sheets of paper. It's already got graphs for you on 31, 32, 33, and 34. Okay, you only need to do part A, C, and D. Okay, part C says that you need to graph. So you should graph each of these piecewise functions on the paper here. Part A and part D ask you to find the domain and range of the function. Now we practice finding the domain and the range of the function. Okay. I hope you guys can hear me. I had a little technical difficulty there. Part A and D ask you to find the domain and range. We've practiced that before. So I want you guys to find the domain and range of the function there. Okay. Find the domain and range of the function. And if we have to, we can practice that next time. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, we're going to go over this again next time. Okay, that's not an excuse to not do your homework. You still need to do your homework and come in with that done. Okay, but we will practice next time as well. All right, good luck.